The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Now in our 10th year of broadcasting, each week we continue talking with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we're going to share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today, we're going to start off the show talking with Connie Meekhoff. See, I said it right when we talked before the show. Meekhoff, who's the Family Peace Center supervisor for Parents and Children Together, otherwise known as PACT Hawaii.
Hi, Susie. How are you?
I'm good, Connie. Thanks for the accepting the muff on your name here.
Good.
You know, it's like that, and Meekhoff is not this long Hawaiian name that I tried to get phonetically spelled out, and yet, boom, there it was.
Oh, my husband will appreciate it.
I hope he has a sense of humor.
I think because I told him to listen today, so we'll see.
If the only thing he remembers about the show is how I messed up the name, we're in trouble. So we've got Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's still out there.
Domestic violence is still out there. It's hanging strong.
Worse than ever?
It hasn't changed. Numbers go up, numbers go down. For fiscal year 2019, based on survivors, offenders, and children affected by domestic violence, we serviced approximately 641 clients.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And the year's not over.
And the year's not over.
So we're into that's probably through September, huh?
So
Those
our
numbers
fiscal year runs from July through June.
June. So that was ending June.
That was ending June.
So that was for a full year.
So now we're in our new fiscal year of July 19th to June 2020.
How's the pace? Is it?
It's slowed down a little bit. It just depends on the holidays. Holidays are coming up, and things get worse during the holidays, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or there's a full moon.
Full moon.
Yeah.
What about hot weather?
Nah, that's not so much.
Doesn't?
Nah, not so much.
We just jump in the ocean and get rid of it. Gotcha.
Yep. Holidays, though, and we're going to be in for a run.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
What, a lot of times we talk about the key factors. Are there really signs that people can see? I mean, of course, most of the time you see it after the fact.
Yes.
You don't see it coming. It's just bam, there it is. Any hints you can give anybody?
So a lot of situations arrive from the cycle of abuse and them growing up observing these patterns of behaviors. So if they don't learn something new, they continue to repeat the patterns of behaviors. And then they just learn it as a child, watching their parents or grandparents or aunties and uncles behave this way, and it just becomes their norm. So until we're able to change those patterns of behaviors, things are going to stay the same. So that's what we try to do when we do our groups for all of our clients. We're talking about healthy and unhealthy relationships, the effects of domestic violence on children especially, and what that looks like. So we try to help them to change those behaviors.
And if they've grown up in it, then that means that the people around them are used to it or part of it.
Right.
Or doing it, however you approach it.
Correct.
And they're not going to be the ones that correct them.
No. So as we help the clients with these new behaviors or habits, we ask them to take it back into the home to teach others within their family of the things that they're learning. But sometimes it's a little difficult because it takes time for someone to change. If they've been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years, it takes a while. And you have to change it and do it for the rest of your life.
Right.
Not just, I'm doing it for a week, I'm good. Because that's just not possible.
I got you. I tried it and it didn't work. I would
Exactly.
think is kind of a comeback line.
We get that too.
Oh.
I tried that for like 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, you have to do that for the rest of your life, not just 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a learned behavior because so was what you learned.
Exactly. And they learned it from someone. Someone taught them, even though we know that the adults in our lives are the role models that we're following. So whoever that adult is in a child's life, their children always look at things. They hear what you're saying, but they observe everything that you're doing and they just copy what you do. So it just becomes something that's a habit for them.
Do they ever see, like, I mean, I can kind of, in my mind, which is not totally geared towards what the things you do, but would a child turn to a bullying kind of thing if that's what they're coming from?
They can. It can have emotional effects on them. It can have psychological effects of them. They act out in school. And yes, bullying can be one of those ways because they don't know how to say to someone, this is what's going on at home. But normally when those types of behaviors are happening at school, something is going on at home. And it just takes the time to, and we know teachers are busy. They're supposed to be in the classroom teaching, but you just need to ask the question, what's going on at home?
Gotcha. It's in situations like that where you see something happening. I mean, of course, a lot of things can be triggering it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always have to be domestic violence.
Correct.
But to find out where the problem is or what the child is seeing as happening that's leading him or her to this kind of behavior is the question.
Right. So we try to help them understand what's going on because the things, it affects children so much differently than it does adults. And we've even discovered that it can happen in utero. And we don't know how badly that affects even a pregnant woman because she is going through these things in her body as these domestic violence things are happening to her. So it's also affecting her baby. So the children will come out having different behaviors or situations because they have experienced that trauma. So it's the effects of childhood trauma that is in your life for a long time until you're able to get some help or assistance with that.
Wow.
Yep.
I never even thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
You come into this world with that as a starting point.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And most people don't think about that when it's a pregnant woman carrying a child, how that's affecting her emotionally and then her child. Because if your mind and body isn't healthy when you're pregnant, what do you think's happening to your child?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, one of the other things that I've always wondered about, but I don't think I've ever asked it before, and that is, can a person who, let's say, has grown up in a family where there's domestic violence, can they put that aside or not act or react to that as they grow up and then 10 years later, after they have 3 kids at home or something, something happens and it hits. It comes out. Can it be, I guess that's kind of like a latent or...
It's possible. Everybody's situation is different. It depends on how they've dealt with that trauma and if they've gone to therapy or spoken to anybody about it and then overcome it, or if it's just latent and it's there, waiting for something to trigger. What could that possible trigger be? I'll use myself as an example instead of a client. So I grew up in a home where there was domestic violence as the child, watching my father do these things to my mother. And being the oldest of 4, I became the protector of my siblings. So I would make sure they're in the room. If things are happening, we would close the door, watch TV, play games, or whatever. So that way I was hoping to shield them from what was going on, but we all could hear it.
Right.
And understand it, and sometimes even see as we got older the things that were happening and the things that were being abusive done to my mom by my father. So you can overcome it. I was specific about the types of relationships I would get myself into. I tell my clients I have what is called my non-negotiables, and these are things that I'm not going to tolerate from a man or woman if I was in that relationship. And so I put that out there, and I make sure those things don't come into my life or had previously. And then it helped me to overcome. I don't want someone that's going to hit me or beat me or belittle me or call me names. Why would I want that? I am better than that. I am more than that. So I made it a conscious effort not to become that person. My brothers did extremely well too, because they never became my dad either, which was surprising that never happened, that either one of them didn't turn into him. But I think because the four of us collectively decided to move away and have our own lives and do things that were effective for us, we didn't fall into that pattern.
Did you guys did that together?
We did that, yes.
Did you have an outside influence that you went to kind of help guide you in that direction?
None of us ever spoke to anybody about it.
Really?
I didn't even get into this idea of being someone who was interested in domestic violence until about 8 years ago. It just wasn't, I didn't see it as my path. And then something, I don't know what it was, that said, oh, maybe I should try doing this because I want to try to give back to those women and children that are affected. And then I got into it, and it's a passion for me. I enjoy and love my job. I love working with clients, the offenders as well as the survivors and the children, because we have to change the offenders, which is predominantly male, from those patterns of behaviors, and for them to understand what we're experiencing. It helps, and it's very fulfilling when those aha moments go off on them and they're like, oh, now I know what you're talking about. I'm like, it's not that hard, is it? It's just we got to think before we speak. You have to think before we react. You can't just react because this is what you've been taught to do.
Interesting. Do you look back on that time when, growing up in that situation? Do you have a relationship with your parents?
My father has since passed away.
Okay.
But I did eventually, I had to forgive him for what I held it for a long time. He was still my father and I respected him, but I did not like him as a father or a husband. And eventually, when I remarried for the second time, my husband and him became close, which was really odd because my father was not that person. And when that happened, I saw a different side of him. And because of that, I decided to forgive him for what he had done to all of us. And I said, you know what, I have to forgive you because my life is in a great place. I have a wonderful human being in my life, which is my husband, and I just need to move on from it. So forgiveness is a big thing. It's a big thing.
So there may have been some effect on him by your future husband at that point.
I believe so. He was not a man that spoke many words. Getting him to speak was just, that was a hard task.
But actions.
But something, I don't know what it was about my husband that he connected with him, and I saw the difference in him when they connected with each other, and he became a totally different person. And he was a great grandfather, which was like,
wow,
really? You were a horrible father, but you're the best grandfather. What the heck? So that was really amazing for all of us because we all had children, my siblings and I. It was wonderful watching that because that's not what he gave us. So it was just like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? This is not the same man. So I guess things happen for a reason.
But what an example for you moving into this field to see that it can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And sometimes in a most unlikely way.
Exactly. So when those moments go off and I click or connect with a client and I see the difference in them and then they start having these experiences with their children, it's like, okay, this is great. This is what I wanted to happen. And it is possible. Yes, it takes work. You can't, I tell them, I don't have a magic wand. I can't tap you on the shoulder and say, perfect, you're never going to commit these things again. We all get upset and we all get angry. We just have to know what to do with that. We don't react and take it out on other people. What are you going to do with that when you feel that? We call them the triggers. When your triggers start coming up, is it something that somebody said? Or is it a smell or a sound? Or are you getting hot flashes or whatever, you're sweating? When those things come up, what do? We teach our clients time out is one of the main things. Take a time out. We talk about giving our kids time out. You need to take one too. It's okay for an adult to say, you know what, I'm having a moment. I need to take a time out. I'll be back in about half an hour. I need to go breathe. But you need to say that to each other, not just walk away huffing and puffing. Just say, if you're having a disagreement and it's getting bigger, I need a moment.
Interesting.
Yep.
Time out. A lot of people say count to 10.
We
You
can
know,
do that too.
Sometimes it takes longer than counting to 10.
Exactly.
But that's the same idea.
Yep.
We got to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out what's going on in their world. And today we've started the show talking to the Family Peace Center supervisor. Her name is Connie Meekhoff. There we go. See? Oh, just one slip earlier. What the heck? We're talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we had a great conversation here in the first half of the show. Connie, I really appreciate your coming forth with that. I mean, personal experience can't be beat. I mean, you wish you didn't have to go through it.
Right.
But it sounds like the end result has worked for you and your siblings.
Yes, very well.
That's incredible. So now you bring that into your work at PACT, and we've got a couple of things going on this month because it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. A big sign waving
Yes.
challenge, I guess we'll call it.
So we have lots of sign waving. So our offices are located in Wailuku Industrial, Ho'okahi Street. So we're going to be at the intersection of Lower Main and Ho'okahi Street at different times throughout the month. And I have a list of dates. But if you want a specific day and time, you can always reach us at 243-7001. 243-7001, and I can give you that information. But coming up soon, so on the 5th, which is tomorrow, right? No, the 9th.
We're on the 9th.
We're on the 9th. Coming up on the 9th, we're going to do sign waving in the morning at about 9 o'clock for half an hour. So that will be all of the Parents and Children Together staff. We're going to all be out there doing sign waving. If you want to come out, awesome. You can make a sign and bring it, or we have some extra ones that you can just sign with us. We ask that you wear purple because Domestic Violence Awareness Month, the color is purple. And then, like I said, we're having sign waving every couple of days during every week for the rest of the month. Also on this Saturday, we're doing a activity at the mall. It's going to be at the kiosk that's near the little playground area. Mm-hmm. So this activity is for children. And from 10 to 12, we're going to have the kids make a little placard that says hands are for hugging, where they're going to trace their hands on the paper, and then they can decorate it, and then we'll be giving away little prizes for them to take at the end. And then we'll also have some information for any adults that want regarding Domestic Violence Awareness Month and activities or things that are happening. And if there's something going on in their lives and they need someone to talk to, they can do that.
Gotcha. Sounds like redirection for me.
Exactly.
Hands are for hugging.
Hands
I love that.
are for hugging.
I love that.
Yeah, so we chose that one along with our FSS supervisor Melly. She came up with that one, so we're just using that as a way to show kids that this is what your hands are for. They're for hugging and not for hitting.
Right.
And no one should ever hit you.
Right.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's a great visual. I mean, that's something I can see as you talk about it, and I don't have much of a imagination about things, but I love that. That's right.
It is.
Hands are for hugging.
Hands are for hugging. And kids
Wonderful.
understand that saying better than anybody, so they kind of get it. So if they make it, they decorate it, they can hang it up in the room, put it on their door, and just have it there so parents understand. You know, you should hug your kids. Tell them I love you every day. But hitting is just not acceptable.
Right.
Yep.
Too often that's that way. Anything else going on?
We also have an event with the Committee on the Status of Women on October 19th at the mall from 10 to 2. So other service providers who also work with domestic violence victims, survivors, children, and offenders will be there at the mall on that day. And we will have entertainment, and I believe we're going to have the reading of the proclamation.
Okay, is that a Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
Okay, and that's at Queen Kahu Manu Mall.
Yes, October 19th.
Great. Okay, so the Family Peace Center. Great great activities there. I mean, I look at what PAC does, and I think, how do you do this? I mean, how do you do this every day after day? I mean, this for me, when I'm doing something and it's challenging, there's a success story in there somewhere.
And there always is a success story with all of us and all of the clients that we service with our staff. I try to ask them whenever we're having a meeting or a supervision, give me a highlight and a success story of your clients. For me, I have my clients write me a testimonial before they leave, and it's normally the survivors. And I have them tell me where you were when you started, and then how are you now at the end leaving. Because it's still them taking that. It's going to take time. You're not after 16 weeks, okay, I'm good to go. This is miraculous. You still have things that you need to work on, things that you have to work through. You still have, children to raise. And if you're going back to this individual that you want to be in a relationship with, you both have to make those changes together. So I have them do the testimonial so they can see exactly where they've come from and where they're going, so that they don't feel like they're stuck in this situation.
I see. Do you often get couples who come in together knowing they have a problem?
Okay, if there is a domestic violence situation, we never have couples do anything together. There's a reason why, the power and control.
Okay.
So that individual is using power and control to overcome that other person. So our offender, whoever the offender is, whether it's male or female, they have their separate groups. Our survivors have their separate group, and our children have their own group. So that way everybody can speak openly about what's going on and not feel like, oh, well, so he's dad sitting there, so I better not say that.
Right.
Or mom's over there, so I can't say that, so she's going to get upset. And then the same thing for the women. We don't recommend they go into couples counseling unless they've been out of the domestic violence situation for at least a year, because they have to change those, like I said before, those habits and patterns of behaviors that they're using. Because if you go into a room with a therapist and these two are talking, someone's going to be the manipulator. And those that do domestic violence are very good at that. They're extremely well at manipulation, coercion, emotional abuse, psychological, verbal, all of it. And so that person is just going to sit there and not say anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That stands to reason. But I guess my question was more aimed towards, do couples ever come to you together? Obviously, you're going to split them up. But I don't see that happening. I'm just curious.
No, like on their own, we need to walk in the door. Okay, no, that doesn't
Okay.
happen. You may have an offender come on their own and say, oh, I need to get help because this is what's going on. And we've had them. I had someone come in yesterday, and that individual stated, I'm just coming on my own. And I'm like, okay, why? Why are you coming? And he's like, well, because I'm starting to be verbally abusive toward my girlfriend. And my therapist said, maybe I need to do this. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm glad you did that before you got on probation or went into jail or was ordered by somebody to come see us. Makes a big difference. So we'll have them come individually. We'll have survivors come on their own, needing assistance, and we'll help them. Sometimes offenders. But most of the time, they're referred either through probation because they got in trouble and something happened, got arrested, or they're in front of a family court judge, and they're being sent to us for services.
I see. Okay, so they may recognize there's a problem, but
Right.
they don't have the not the encouragement, but the willpower
Right.
to make that step
Correct.
or take that step.
Correct. So they won't come on their own, and we really would like it if you come on your own. Prevention, it's the key.
Right.
Yep.
Looking, I couldn't find my recognize as a problem. They don't have AM in their music.
My phone is trying to get in on the radio conversation. I can't believe that. Siri is serious. Oh my gosh. I guess the thing that if something about this intrigues me, and I'm not sure that's the right word either, but do people in this situation, I mean, just naturally, I'm thinking they want it changed. They
Right.
don't like it. They don't
Right.
want to be a part of this.
Right.
But is what you're saying is something has to happen before that step is taken to change.
The
They-
majority of the time, yes.
Yeah.
Something has to happen to push them. Very rarely do they just, I have this moment, I need to stop, I need to get some help. People have a hard time asking for help, and that's where the problem lies. And you shouldn't be, people are shamed. You shouldn't be shamed. You should walk in and say, I need to get help because this is affecting me, my kids, my partner, my family, mom, dad, whoever is surrounding you or in that household. Be okay to say, I need some help.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Last thoughts. What would you like to leave with the people out there that are listening who they may not be in a situation like this, but certainly they know somebody who is because of the prevalence of this? I mean, it's
Right.
a serious issue.
I would say if you know of anyone that's going through this situation, you can easily give them our phone number, 243-7001, and they can talk to either me or one of the Family Peace Center staff about what's going on, and we can help them going in the direction that they need to go based on their situation. We also do temporary restraining orders, which unfortunately sometimes we need to do that so that the situation can stop and everybody can be safe and then think about what's happening. Other than that, any information regarding our sign waving, just give us a call. We'll love to have people come out on Lower Main and Ho'okahi Street and sign wave. We love getting the horns and the whistles and the blows. Yay! Especially from the truckers doing their horn. Great time just to sign wave. It is a serious situation, but we just want people to aware that help is there
Right.
at Parents and Children Together.
Wonderful. Connie, thank you so much for being with us today and
Thank you.
talking about your story and the stories, the 8 years that you've been working in this profession. I'm sure you do have some great success stories,
We do.
and that's what keeps you going.
It is. And thank you so much for having us. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you, and I almost said Happy Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but now you can't say that.
Happy sign waving.
There you go. Happy sign waving. Yes, yes. We wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Connie.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to shift gears now, and we're going to go talk about a job fair. Let's all go get a job. Are there jobs out there?
Yeah,
Come on up to the mic,
there's
Darby.
plenty of jobs, and I know that we have almost 35 employers right now at our job fair scheduled for next week, Friday, October 18th.
The we talk about the unemployment rate being so low that like everybody's got a job, but I've had a couple of openings here in the last few months, and I got incredible numbers of applicants. While they're all working, they're looking for something different.
Yeah.
They've either been where they are long enough to know that that's not where they want to be for the next 20 years, or whatever, or they're not going to advance in that company, sort of thing. So there are people looking for work, and it's nice to know that there's jobs out there.
Yeah, there are, and also we encourage an inclusive workforce at Kalimo, Maui. Since 1955, we've been employing, training, and providing services for Maui citizens with disabilities. And it's come a long way, but still, people with disabilities tend to be underemployed. I was looking at a statistic from a couple of years ago about it said that this was from 2016, so it probably needs to be updated, but it's still relevant. At that point, 81.2% of the population without disability was employed, but yet only 40.5% of the population of people with disabilities were employed. And some
Interesting.
members of that group are even less employed.
Right. Interesting. I forgot to introduce you. We're talking with Darby Gill, who's the Director of Marketing at Kalimo, Maui. Welcome to the show, Darby.
Thank you.
Every year when you do your job fair, we have folks from the Kalimo Maui organization come on and talk about this. And I look at your list of employers who are going to be at this event, and I mean it's a who's who list. You've really got the groups.
Yeah, we have from the visitor industry as well as employers such as Gate Gourmet from the airport, Goodwill, Hawaii Employment Services. We just had somebody call today from the Census Bureau looking for workers for next year.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one,
2020.
right?
Yeah. So, there's a wide variety of employers represented, and they represent all aspects of the community. And backing up a little bit, I really want to point out that Kalimo Maui's been doing this job fair for 8 years now. This is our 8th job fair. And it's our way of celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month, which happens every October. And we want to make people aware about the need to look at to have an inclusive workforce, look at all parts of our community. The theme for this year's awareness is the right talent right now. So our job fair, first and foremost, is a celebration of the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and a way for us to connect to the community, bring people together to find jobs, to find meaningful jobs, and to identify people maybe from social service programs who might be underemployed and give them the opportunity to meet face-to-face with some of the employers looking for workers.
Interesting. That's we talk about the folks with disabilities. We had the what was the alliance that was on the other week that had the gosh, I can't remember the name, that did the special legislative night.
Oh, okay.
I think you guys took part in that, right?
Yeah, we did.
And you were doing the game Family Feud.
Family Feud,
It was
yeah.
Ohana Feud.
Ohana Feud.
And we talked about some of the issues that the those with disabilities face, and the fact that so many employers who have hired people with disabilities rave about the talents these people have. And that's the key issue, is finding what they can do and do well. And for those, not only employers, but the employees, I mean, they're just glowing. I mean, they're working, they're becoming self-sufficient, and something that a lot of people wouldn't even give them a chance back in, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I remember, back in the day, I ran a plant nursery at Kalimo Maui, and our slogan, we still have people come out looking for plants at the Cameron Center, by the way. Our slogan was, we grow plants and people. And at that time, along with Maui Garden and Hardware, we were the largest retail outlet in the community for retail plant
Really?
material. And we had a 2-acre nursery. All the plants were grown by people with developmental disabilities that worked for Kalimo Maui. And people would walk into the nursery and they would be amazed at we had 25-gallon Areca palms, and we had bedding plants, and we had 1-gallon hedge plants, and thousands of plants. And they were all grown by the clients at Kalimo Maui. And, it's interesting because many of those same workers from then are still out there working. This is like 25 years
Wow.
later. One of the most amazing things about the workers of Kalimo Maui is their willingness. They don't take days off. Their willingness to work. They come to work every day. They stay on the job. Like, I think I have a statistic somewhere where we talk about how much we love our job, workers at Kalimo Maui. 64% of the workers have worked 5 to 15 years at Kalimo Maui. 16% have worked 15 plus years. And 20% of the workers at Kalimo Maui have worked more than 20 years at Kalimo Maui. We had a birthday for Sally Giannini, who celebrated her 60th birthday a few months ago, and she has worked at Kalimo, Maui 35 years.
Wow.
And no intention of stopping, and she still contributes. So it's amazing the dedication and the willingness to want to work.
Right. Well, they consider it a privilege to be able to work.
It's a privilege, and it puts money in their pocket, and that's
Wow. That's-
really is a motivator.
Exactly. To be able to be a little bit on their own and so on and so forth. We've got to take a break, but we're going to be right back with Kalimo Maui.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and staff about what's going on in their world. And this afternoon, we started off the show talking with the folks from PACT, Parents and Children Together, talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it's also National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So we're talking with Darby Gill of Kalima Maui. This 8th annual job fair that you've got coming up, it's a different location. We better emphasize that so people don't go back over to the community center, which is where you started out at MEO's community room, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
And then you got too big for that, and you went over to the Wailuku Community Center, and that's into renovation, I think you said, right now.
Yep.
So now you're at the Binhai at Ani Filipino Community Center, and it's the names on this list of businesses that take part in this, it reads like a who's who of business in Maui. I can't say enough for these organizations, and I recognize some on here who do have already folks with disabilities and who have been hiring folks for years.
Sure.
So, to see them on here looking for more is just a great sign to me.
We give out at our annual meeting every November, we give out an Employer of the Year, and we have a perpetual trophy that goes to the employer. This year it's with Foodland on Maui. In the past it's been with Host at the airport, and it's been with Safeway, who continues to employ several of our clients, and it's been to Gate Gourmet, and it really there's so many organizations and businesses supporting employment of persons with disabilities.
Right.
But going back to your point, our job fair is next week, Friday, October 18th, 9 to 11 a.m., which is a little bit different time. In the past, we've done it from 9 to 11:30, so we've changed the time a little bit. And the location, Beniani Filipino Community Association on Onahe'e Street, across from Maui Waina School. That's the easiest way to think of it.
There you go.
There's a bus stop right down the street on Papai and Onahe'e, so it's easy to get to by bus. And it will go from 9 to 11, and it's jam-packed. We usually have about 250 participants, and we expect to have up to 35 employers there willing and to look at finding more workers.
And ready to hire.
Ready to hire. And another feature we also offer is we have mock job interviews. We do resume evaluation. We do tips on how to fill out on-job applications, how to follow up on-job online applications, and be able to help people to become more employable. We hope in the future to make the job fair not just another job fair, but also an employment fair to give people skills on how to apply for a job, how to be successful, how to dress, how to fill out a resume, to be doing more and more of those kind of things.
Interesting. And now you don't have to have a disability to come to the job fair.
No, it's open. It's free, first of all. It's free to employers. It's free to all the participants, and it's open to people of all abilities.
Right.
So, yeah, if anybody looking for work, come on down next week, Friday.
Very good. Wow, that's incredible. And again, that list of employers that are coming, it reads like a who's who of employers in Maui. And I know we've had some, from time to time, we've had some employees that work either for Kalima or have gone through the program at Kalima and are out working, come on with our guest from Kalima. And always just, I mean, they glow because they're working.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, is to be able to find jobs that are suitable. Sometimes that means that the job has to be adapted, and they have to be a little flexible in terms of finding the right fit for the person. But once they do it, they have probably a lifelong employee out of it. So
Right.
it's really worth finding out more about that and doing more.
Right. Now you do some job training at Kalima and getting folks ready for certain jobs.
Yeah.
And then you also have a program where you actually take them out on that first job.
We do. We have several vocational components. We employ about 70 persons with disabilities in janitorial and grounds. Then you see us out cleaning the parks or the pools or doing landscaping around the community. And Dan Homa is the director of operation. Can ask for him if you're looking for that kind of employment. We also work with Department of Vocational Rehabilitation in terms of getting people ready for work and placing them in our job placement program, where we help them. We have classes to help them write resumes, learn interview skills, things like that, get them out. Then we also have a waiver employment program, waiver employment for persons with developmental disabilities. There is an employment component in there, and it's for a first job for those folks. And then we have a ticket to work program that's used for people who receive SSI, who may be eligible for a ticket, and Kalima is an employment organization to serve those as well and help them find jobs.
Ticket to work. I like that. That's increased opportunities and choices for Social Security disability beneficiaries
Yeah.
to obtain employment, vocational rehabilitation, and other support services from public and private providers. That's cool.
Yeah.
Ticket to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of that, they can find out more about any of that as well as the job fair by calling our office at 244-5502 or going to our website at kalimaomaui.org, or calling me personally, 281-5717. But the best number is call our main office, and you'll be pointed in the right direction, talk to the right person about any of our vocational services.
Right. Now, you're located right up behind the J. Walter Cameron Center, right?
Our main offices are still
Is in
at
the
the
center.
Cameron Center.
Okay.
We have a base shot in our waiver program behind the Cameron Center now, and we're in the middle of a capital campaign to hopefully move our whole operation there,
Oh, wow.
and we'll get there.
That's an adventure.
Yeah, that's a big adventure.
Well, you just basically finished renovating the building so it was more secure, safe,
Yeah.
so forth. After some years,
That-
was that the original plant?
That was the original plant nursery work area.
Okay.
And then it was updated for the waiver program to make it, as you say, safer, and to just because it needed the work.
Right.
You know, nonprofits.
That's right. That's right. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when we had the plant nursery, Hiroshi Arizumi, bless him, used to get us some of the sheds that he had at construction sites, and I always think of nonprofits as moving these sheds at 8 o'clock at night that come off of construction sites when the job is done.
Ooh, what's going on over at that construction site? Somebody's moving something. Ah, okay. But it worked. It helped.
Worked, and you know, like you're thinking about nonprofit work, you're always begging, and you're always settling for whatever you have. And you always come to work the next day with a smile on your face.
Exactly. Asking for more.
Asking for more.
in many different ways sometimes.
That's
Yes, yes.
But this time we're giving back. We're giving back in honor of the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We're giving back to the community by offering 8th Annual Job Fair on Friday, October 18th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Beni Ani Filipino Community Center on Onehe'e Street in Kahului, to invite people to come out, talk to one of our 35 employers about finding a job for themselves, making some money.
Exactly. That's cool. Kalimo Maui started how many years ago?
1955. So I think
55.
That's
That's
64
45,
years.
60,
64
yeah.
years ago.
Wow. Big year next year.
Big year next year.
60. 60. We all turn 65, right?
Yeah. If you come to Kalimo Maui at lunchtime when all the guys are around, it's a big year every year.
I gotcha. Very good. Well, I know that we use the grounds crew for many of our apartment buildings,
Nice.
and I think one of the things that I appreciate is that they're also friendly and helpful. If there's something that maybe you want to change the way they're maintaining something, I mean, it's just, yeah, okay, well, we can do that.
Yeah.
And our grounds, I think, look pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. And you know, the thing is, we really stress we do a lot of training.
Uh-huh.
You know, sometimes you get some landscape crew. I know at my house, I look at the landscape and I think, why aren't they using Kalimo Maui? Just because there's such good work and there's training going
Right.
on all the time. Whether it's about how plants grow, or whether it's about CPR, or whether it's about safe lifting, or I mean, we really, are proud of the fact that we don't just put somebody on a piece of equipment. We train them on how to use that equipment. So whether they end up working for us or somewhere else in the community, they have the skills to be successful and safe.
Right. You know, I remember a couple of years ago we were getting ready to do some remodeling at one of our apartment buildings, and we were looking for bank financing to do that. And the banker came over from Honolulu. Don't they always have to come from Oahu? And he knew nothing about us, you know. And so one Saturday morning, the local banker we were dealing with and the guy from Oahu came over, and I rode around with him to a couple of our buildings. And after we'd been to like the third building, he says, "You don't have to show me anymore." He says, "This is fabulous." He said, "From the grounds to the buildings to the, he said, you got your money. Let's go."
Good.
And I thought, wow, I've never heard a banker say that. And, it's always, I'll take this back and I'll review it and get back to you in a few days kind of thing. But as I looked at the properties from his eyes, not from mine, but from his, I thought, they do look pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's part of the groundskeeping. I mean, if things are overgrown or not cut evenly or whatever, they've been a whole different picture.
Yeah.
But we have Kalima to thank for the beautiful presentation that we were able to make to this guy.
Well, thank you for noticing.
Yeah, I mean, it just, like I said, it was the first time I ever heard a banker say, "You've got it." We don't need to see the others. Perfect. And he picked which ones to go to first, so it's not like we planned,
Yeah.
the best sites.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's great, and that's what it's all about. And to see the workers happy and enjoying working, I mean, that's special.
Well, our tagline is enhancing lives through self-reliance, and so that's what we try to do. We try to make sure that people come in. We identify the people who can qualify for our service. We make sure that they're trained, that they have an appropriate job, and then we continue to work with them to develop those skills even further so they can be successful. So the contracts we have, we can maintain our contracts and do a good job at it, because anything worth doing is worth doing well.
Right.
And we really try to share that with all of our consumers.
Right, and it shows. Darby, thank you very much for being here today, and I want to remind everybody the 8th Annual Kalima Maui Job Fair is coming up Friday, October 18th at the Binhai'ani Filipino Community Center in Kahului, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. If you're looking to make a change in your career or job, whatever you want to call it, check it out. There's some really good organizations there that will be more than happy to talk to you about a job.
Thank you very much
Thanks,
for
Darby.
having us.
You got it. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Please give them a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Pacific Source has been our sponsor from day one, and we want to thank them for 10 years of ongoing support. To you, our listeners, we thank you for the responses our agencies get from you regarding the activities that we talk about on this program. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies, and if you see one there that you're interested in finding out more about, just click on their website, or click on their name, I should say, and it'll take you to their website. Today we visited with we visited with Connie Meekoff, who is the Family Peace Center supervisor with PAC, Parents and Children Together, here on Maui, and talked about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there are many sign-waving opportunities. Give her a call at 243-7001 for more information about the Family Peace Center and how they may be able to help you or someone you know. We've also visited with Darby Gill, who is the Director of Marketing for Kalima o Maui, and phone number for the Kalima folks, 244-5502. How we doing? A little over a minute? Oh, shoot, we can talk about more stuff. Yeah, let's go for it. Anyway, Kalima, the job fair, I can't say enough about the right talent right now, which is what Kalima is all about, and the what is it? Disabilities.
National Disabilities Employment Awareness Month.
There we go. Okay.
That's a mouthful.
That's a lot, but it says a lot too.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to join us again next week right here, same time, same place, noon on KAOI Radio, 1110 AM, 96.7 FM, 96.5 FM on the west side, and 98.7 upcountry and Central Valley. We'll feature 2 more representatives of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks again for joining us today. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.